avasthanam. The first aphorism says Ath Yoga Anushasanam. I am talking about the disciplines yoga. The purpose of yoga, the way of yoga is in controlling the tendencies of mind. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha, but tada drishtu swarupi avasthanam. But you have not to rest there, just with the control of your tendencies, senses, because your experience has to be much higher than that. Tada drishtu swarupi avasthanam. You should reach the stage where you have your self-realization. You can yourself experience, where the experiencer, the experience and the object of experience, they become one. This we call triputi. This triputi, the knowledge, the knower, and the process of knowing, they become one. That is the state of samadhi, according to Maharishi Patanjali. Then pranayam, that much about asana. But I think there is going to be too much focus on this Hatha Yoga only. I think there are other yoga methods also, paths also, which she has mentioned. So I think shortly I should switch over to those systems which are also very dear to me and on which I have been working working particularly these days. So after asana we have pranayam. Pranayam also, Baba Ramdev, you have heard, very popular these days. And this through pranayam, he is performing miracles. He has become a miraculous man. I have also seen other places, and you will yourself notice. I have seen with Osho Rajneesh to his place. I also went. So if you have Bhastrika pranayam, for instance, inhalation and exhalation, very fast, it incites some auto movement in you. It just starts happening like that. But it also has a limited purpose, the pranayam. So just it does nadi shuddhi, because the nerves, innumerable nerves inside you, they have to be purified, they have to be cleaned, and pranayam helps in doing that. Pranayam pratyahar is inward withdrawal. Dharana is sort of concentration, dhyan, meditation, and samadhi, as I said, 3-in-1 stage. The knower, the knowledge, and the process of knowing become one. Samadhi is of two types, savikalp and nirvikalp. Samadhi has two types, savikalp and with option, without option. Savikalp samadhi is that samadhi in which thoughts are there. You have a feeling that you are there. But nirvikalp samadhi, in that state, it is a total forgetfulness. If you have heard the story of Ramakrishna Paramhans, when Totapuri helped him reach the stage of samadhi, Totapuri, he went there and he wanted to have the experience of nirvikalp samadhi. Vivekananda was also insisting that Swami Ramakrishna Paramhans allows him to have the experience of this nirvikalp samadhi, but Ramakrishna Paramhans never permitted, because he says, once you reach that state of nirvikalp samadhi, you are above the world. You will not care for the world. So I do not want that you do not care for the world. You have to live in the world and you have to take care of it. So therefore, Ramakrishna Paramhans never helped him reach that state of samadhi. And he also said that once you reach that stage, you will leave this body. So we know that Vivekananda left this world just at the age of 39. So this much about the Hatha Yoga, which is a hot yoga in these days and so much talked about. You want to say something?
I wanted to find out if Jnaneshwar Maharaj did the same. Did he reach that samadhi when he...
he was much higher. In fact, Gyaneshwar Maharaj, he had reached the ultimate stage of realization, and at a very early stage, at the stage of 20, he reached the miracles he performed in his life, and the awakening, the Gyaneshwari, and so he, I mentioned his name, that one of my friends told me that Gyaneshwarji has put a lock on the experiences of on the experience about the experiences of this basic plexus, the Swadhisthana, and up to third stage of our centers. So he was fully realized when he could make a buffalo chant Vedic mantras. The interpretation, the commentary of Bhagavad Gita he has given, that is just super. And it itself, the way he has commented, it is as if he is witnessing Krishna talking to Arjuna, and as if he is himself a witness and describing it from the battlefield, like Sanjay. So his is a extraordinary case. So this much about, I think, about Hatha Yoga. The different yogas which Gita talks about, they are rather practical. They are worth following by those who try to understand, who are intellectual kind, and who want to have some higher knowledge about the world, the God, and about their own selves. So, the Gyan Yoga, Karm Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga, these three paths, they become important. And they have all been discussed in Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, there are only two places, in 6th chapter and 8th chapter, where Krishna talks about some techniques of yoga. In 6th chapter, he says that when you sit on meditation, Sucha Udeshe, it should be a pure spot. You just not sit on the ground, there should be a seat. Then you can have your concentration on the in the center of the two eyebrows. So that he says in the 6th chapter. And in the 8th chapter, he talks about a person who is departing from the world, who is taking his last breath, because Arjuna had asked. In the beginning of 8th chapter, Arjuna had asked, Kim tad brahma, kim adhyatma, kim karma purushottama? 7 questions he asks in the beginning of 8th chapter. And the 8th question is, tell me, what is the technique available for a person who is departed from the world to have a better next life? What should be it? So there he says, withdrawing himself from the outwardliness, one who recites Om Mitte Kaksham Brahma Viharan Mahamarasmaran. Om Mitte Kaksham Brahma. Just Om, this one letter, Brahma, one who recites and remembers me at the moment of his last breath, he realizes me. So that technique is words. Gita does not talk about any asana. About pranayam, there is a brief mention that one who merges apan into the prana and prana into the apan, pranayam parayana. He is efficient in pranayama. Patanjali, on the other hand, says that the division, the separation of prana and apan is pranayama. What is prana? Prana and apan. We have in pranayama, we have inhalation, we have exhalation. We have purak, we have kumbhak, we have rechak. These 3 stages. So, according to Patanjali, there has to be separation, the prana and apan, the inhalation and exhalation. It has to be vacuum inside. In when you have completed rechak, for instance, when you have completed rechak, when exhalation is complete, there has to be a complete vacuum. So this, he says, is this separating the two is pranayam. Krishna says it is merging. Apane juhvati pranam, prane panam juhvati. One who puts prana into apan and apan into prana, like we put oblation into fire when we perform yajna, sacrifice, so it is just like that. So that was, he says. Only this much Arjun was taught. No other asana, mudra and anything Arjun was taught, because that was not important. Krishna knew for a larger percentage of people, the yoga of action, the yoga of knowledge, then the yoga of devotion is important. And these three are so intermixed in Bhagavad Gita that the Gita has been interpreted in all three ways. Adi Shankar interpreted Gita in the light of Vedanta philosophy, as if it is a philosophy of knowledge, just a philosophy of knowledge, Vedanta. Adi Shankar, that was his interpretation. And according to him, the first chapter, which serves as a background of it, is not so important, because the actual discourse of Krishna starts from the second chapter only. So from second chapter he has offered his commentary. And then he makes a reference to Shruti at a number of places, Upanishads at a number of places. Then Gyaneswara, as you told, his commentary is based on devotion. It is a commentary of a devotee. It is a commentary of total surrender. In Yoga Darshan also, Patanjali has used on the Ishwar Pranidhan, surrender before God. This term he has used at three places in Yoga Darshan. Patanjali says in Yoga Darshan itself that if you are not going to go through all the 8 steps of yoga, Ishwar Pranidhanadva, there is an alternative before you. You just surrender before God and you reach that state. Samadhi siddhati Ishwar Pranidhanadva. Samadhi, you reach the state of Samadhi even just by surrendering before God. Then about Kriya Yoga also he says, Tap Swadhyaya Ishwar Pranidhan Kriya Yoga. He defines what Kriya Yoga is. Tap Swadhyaya and Ishwar Pranidhan, they are Kriya Yoga. So this devotion is so important. Then karma, about the philosophy, the yoga of action. In modern times, Tilak, Gandhiji, Vinobaji, and most of the people, they are interested in Gita based on the yoga of action. That while doing, while acting, while living in this world, it is possible that we have to be yogi. How is it possible? Yogastha kur karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddho samo bhutva samatvam yogochite. Krishna very well states in Gita. It is 48th of second chapter. Yogastha kur karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya. O Dhananjaya, you should act. You must only act once you are established in yoga. Without establishing in yoga, without being a yogi, you have no right to act. You have no right to perform. How? Maharishi Mahesh Yogi at that time he was interpreting this, telling people that if you want to go to the market, if you want to buy a thing, you have to have bank balance. Unless you have a bank balance, you cannot make any purchases. In the same manner, unless you are a yogi, you are established in yoga, you are established in self, you have no right, no might, no energy to perform action. So, Yogastha Kuru Karmani, Sangam Tyaktva Dhananjaya. But the qualified action which Krishna lays so much stress is that you don't have to have attachments. You don't have to be bothered either with the action or the fruit thereof. The very famous verse of Gita, which is often quoted, Karmanye vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phal hetu ma te sangostu karmani. This has been very much misinterpreted everywhere.
This in this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
talking about what so far we read different thing in the Gita, but the first four of the yoga, yama niyama,
Asana.
and asana, all those four are important to progress.
Yeah, they are external equipments.
Yes.
They prepare you externally.
Yeah.
The inward approach starts from pratyahar, dharana, dhyana, and
Yeah.
samadhi, from that stage. So, but this karmanya vadikara, it's very important, and I want to explain this because it has been very much misunderstood. Karmanya vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachan. Krishna says, it has been so interpreted that you have right to act, you have no right to enjoy the fruit thereof. This is a wrong interpretation of it. Karmanye vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachan. Never so. Some people have interpreted, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi also, you have control over your action, you have no control over its fruit. It could be interpreted like that because in 18th chapter again, Krishna says that it is not just your action which is important for bringing about the fruit thereof, but there are other things. For instance, he says, the background in which you work, adhishthan, the platform where you sit, then what sort of doer you are, whether you are healthy, whether you are ill, then the tools you employ, what tools you have. For instance, if you are doing a farming and you still have the bullocks and employed, so you won't be that efficient. So the tools of employment, then the labor you put in, whether you do it efficiently, whether you are a skilled labor or not. Then the fifth one is destiny, God. So these 5 factors are responsible, but it is just not that. This interpretation of it. Yogastha kuru karmani, sangam tyaktva dhananjaya, siddhya siddho samo